Welcome our new sponsor to the Man at 50 podcast, Scars and Stripes Coffee Company. They empower veterans to build their own business using their e-commerce platform. When you purchase from Scars and Stripes Coffee, you are buying from a veteran, and your purchase directly impacts the men and women who have served our country. Do more than say, thank you for your service. Order today and empower a veteran. Use vet code Brad Richard at scarsandstripescoffee.com. That's scarsandstripescoffee.com. Welcome back, everybody, to the Man at 50 podcast. I'm your host, S. Richard, author of the book Man at 50, A Journey of Crisis, Revelation, and Survival. So let's get started on the Man at 50 podcast, a podcast that is for you, your little person within you, your hopes, your dreams, and hopefully a new plan for the future. Welcome back, everybody, to the Man at 50 podcast. We have another episode 30, and today I have a special guest with me, Dr. Sveta Silverman, and she is from Canada, and I believe she's on the line with us. Sveta, are you with me?
I am totally with you, Brad, and thank you for the opportunity. I'm so excited. This is my first podcast as a guest.
Terrific. Well, we have some technical difficulties getting started today, and this is my 30th episode of the podcast, and for whatever reason, today and yesterday was just kind of a technology meltdown, but we made it. We are live in the recording process, so welcome to the Man at 50 podcast. I'm really excited to talk about you, what you do. Now, I know that you are involved with Blue Talks as well as I am as well. And tell me a little bit. Let's just get started with. Tell me a little bit about yourself, your background, and what are you currently doing, in your practice today.
Right. So thank you. So obviously you can hear my Russian accent. So I am an implant from the former Soviet Union. My husband calls it CCCP. So I immigrated on the verge of 1990, basically Christmas of 1989. And before I immigrated, I graduated as a pediatric surgeon and was practicing pediatric surgery in Russia for about 2.5 years. Then I immigrated to Canada. I lost all my credentials, everything, and I actually was working at the Fantasyland Hotel at one of the biggest malls in the world, and I was cleaning the hotel. I was a housekeeper. And slowly but surely, I got myself into medical school. And I'm now a local grad. I graduated and I cognitively didn't want to see patients, and I specialized in pathology, specifically in breast pathology. Now, in 2004, my life changed upside down. My mom was diagnosed with a deadly cancer and she passed away in 2004, and it completely changed me, changed my perspective on life, changed my perspective on health, and I started learning anything to know about, in my mind, about health. The lifestyle, the diet, the cells, the exercise, the water, you name it. And the most important thing for me, and I am a breast pathologist, well, I'm a pathologist, but I specialize in breast diseases, especially in breast cancer, but most important, I'm a cell doctor. So I look in the unhealthy cancerous disease cells. And my mission, my credo is, how do I teach prevention? How do I teach healthy cells? Or how do I teach people to convert their unhealthy cells into healthy cells with our life choices, with our power? I teach people to take charge of their lives. And that's my mission. That's why, thank you for the opportunity.
Oh, you're so welcome. Now, most of that is over my head from a technical standpoint. You know, I'm in the mental health business as well. But you know what you're doing, and you know the cell formation and getting rid of the bad cells and creating more good cells. You know, it's so intriguing, and I'm sure it's more complicated than that. What now? When your mother passed away, is that kind of what brought you to? Do you call it cell therapy or cell regeneration, or what term do you use for it?
I call it everything, whether it's a cell regeneration, whether it's a cell therapy, whether it's a my conversion into how do we do health. See, the thing is, you don't need to know the intricacies of the cells. I do, you don't.
Mm-hmm.
And when I talk about cells, I cannot explain to you in those intricacies. My job is to explain to you. I always think of a Forrest Gump. And the concept is I need to explain to everyone, like I'm talking to a 4-year-old child, and explain health in a simple way, and explain cellular function and how the cells work and how cells are maintained, so a 4-year-old can understand it. And nobody needs to know the biochemical processes and intricacies and pathways. I do. Normal people don't. But from my understanding of these pathways, that's where you with mental health come on board. And that's where I, with teaching the healthy choices, our choices, how to make ourselves with those trillions or over 100,000 biochemical reactions get back to normal, to healthy. We are born with healthy, normal cells. And then we forget how to maintain them, how to tune them up. We tune up the cars. We oil change in the cars, but we do not do that with ourselves. We clean the houses where we live. We paint the walls, but we don't take care of the cell walls. We forget to paint the cell walls, and before that, we forget to clean them. And that's where I come, and I teach this from my understanding of cells, because you and I, we're very similar. We're basically a lump of cells. You and I are a lump of 30 to 40 trillion cells. And guess what? The stress doesn't spare any. The stress affects every single one of those 30 or 40 trillion. So what do we do about it? How do we take care of ourselves? Let's say you teach mental health, or let's say meditation, prayer, energy, manifestation, yoga. So am I. And then I go into what are the food manifestations? What are the food choices? You know, and it is my responsibility to make those choices, because let's say food choices to me are very, very important. Those nutrients, those foods that I put in my system and my cells, they're not only going to be the building blocks, they are those bricks to the cells, but they're also the energy and the food to the cells. And they are also the rebuild of the cells, the recycling of the cells. That's why the foods and the mental aspect, the choices, the life choices are so important.
Yeah, you know, that makes, you know, so much sense in terms of, you know, we talked about before this interview, we talked about, you know, food choices. I grew up eating a lot of carbs, and can you tell the listeners, I know that carbs in excess are really, really, really bad for the body. And can you explain that to the listeners as far as the difference between feeding your body excessive carbs or excessive proteins, or the balance between those two? Because everybody hears about that. They hear about carbs are bad, proteins are good. And I think a lot of us are really confused by that, and we really don't know how to balance that correctly, for the best health that we can create in ourselves.
Well, thank you for that question, Brad. The interesting thing and the most important sort of the essence of the discussion is a balanced diet. You can't have too many proteins, that's not good. You should not be having too many carbohydrates, that is not good. And you should not be having too much fat. Too much is not good. The right amount is good enough. Now, why some proteins are very bad for us? So let's say proteins per se, that too much of a protein is also not good, because that protein, when you're eating too much protein, it's actually going to convert either into the fat or it's going to convert into carbohydrates. So you can't win per se with too much. Now, carbohydrates are different from carbohydrates. So the carbohydrates that are in our fruits and vegetables that either we pick, we harvest, or we buy at the farmers markets, or we forage, or we grow ourselves, they are carbohydrates, but they're completely different carbohydrates than those refined carbohydrates that we all know as sugary garbage. Sugar carbohydrates, AKA processed carbohydrates. Whether you like it or not, it is not good. It is never good. So all this yummy stuff, but it is not good. Because what happened with refined carbohydrates, they are overstimulated, they are overburdened, and they toxify, they make our system toxic. And we think that, let's say, fats, they cause cholesterol raise and stuff, they atherosclerotic disease. Well, guess what? Refined sugars, refined carbohydrates, the sugary sodas, that is actually what is going to cause atherosclerotic disease. So am I teaching against carbohydrates? No way. We need carbohydrates, because why do we need it? It's our energy. That's how we get literally energy, which is made by our, another concept, mitochondria, our power factory, combining these carbohydrates with oxygen, literally giving us energy. But everyone eats too many and too much. How much sugar in the can of Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola? And then we're talking, like the country loves refined sweets, the cakes and the snacks, and and the donuts, and refined processed breads and stuff. And then we eat it too much. And the interesting thing is, you're hungry, you eat those refined, and then your system is so overwhelmed, it works it up so fast. And then like in a few minutes, you're hungry again, because you absolutely screwed up your biochemical reactions. That is why carbohydrates in the form of refined carbohydrates are not good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that's a warning flag for me, because I'm kind of a carboholic, and I know that it for me, when I eat more proteins, not excessive proteins, but when I eat more proteins and less carbs, my body does perform a lot better, and it does function a lot better.
Absolutely, because it utilizes the nutrients that you need, and the absorption is slower. The slower per se that utilization, digestion, and absorption of these foods, it allows the system not to overwork it, and not to basically get tired and exhaust the capacity. it's like you eat the cheesecake and then you're on the couch because you seem like you're exhausted. But when you eat a very nice salad for lunch with a piece of salmon or beautiful piece of, for example, nice free-range chicken, and you're flying, you've got so much energy on you.
Well, with the exception of turkey. Now, when we eat turkey on Thanksgiving, we usually feel really sleepy and really tired.
because of the ingredient, because one of there is an amino acid in the turkey that is called tryptophan, and that kind of what makes you tired. But not only that we eat turkey, A, we eat a lot of it, B, we eat a lot of stuffing in it, C, we eat some pumpkin pie, D, we eat something else with it, and that is we are overate and we're overtired and we're too much.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
See, the thing is with Japanese finish their food when they're third hungry.
Oh, wow.
It's like I'm kind of a third hungry. It's like I'm not full. I'm done. And they feel great, and their longevity is higher than North Americans. And we eat till we're full, or we eat till we're overfull. Why do we like buffets?
Yes.
Because there's no limit. There's no limit.
We love buffets in America.
And the thing is, if I already pay my money, so I may as well eat for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, get your fair share. But that's really detrimental to our health.
Exactly. Get your money back.
Now, I've heard, and maybe some of the listeners can relate to this. I've heard that your diet, when it comes to being balanced, you should. Is it true that you should have more proteins and less carbs in your diet?
Yeah. See, I like my food low carb diet.
Mm-hmm.
So my carbs, they're low carbs. They're coming from not too sugary fruits and a lot of vegetables.
Mm-hmm. So the fruits and the vegetables. Now that is not a processed carb like you spoke of earlier.
I do not do, absolutely. At my house, there are no boxes. There are no food that comes in the box. The food in my house, they come in a way of, this is a chunk of meat, or this is a chicken, and this is a fish that I actually have to fillet or just cook it on the bone, these kind of things. And all the fruits and vegetables, they come in a wholesome form. Okay. And just in case, even if I have to, let's say, make it as a dry, this is me, I'm extreme. I like to dehydrate it myself, or I know where I'm buying it. But dehydrated fruits, they're quite sweet. So I try to stay away from that.
Mm-hmm. Too much sugar.
Too much sugar. That's my diet. And absolutely, there are no refined proteins in my pantry, or refined carbohydrates. You will not find, in fact, there's no sugar in my house.
Oh, remind me not to visit. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, that's fine, but you're going to have a beautiful, local, organic, raw honey.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I love me some honey, and especially in my coffee. I guess, I have so many different questions when it comes to the health and, the cellular health that you talk about. I'm trying to think of some of the questions that some of the listeners may want answered. When it comes to our diets, and I think I know the answer, but what is the most detrimental thing that we consume to our cells?
Sugar.
Sugar is the most detrimental?
Sugar. Well, obviously, see, the thing is, my take is, I like to be gluten-free. But if anything to cut, it is sugar or anything that is going to turn into sugar, aka all refined foods, refined flours, white flour, per se, everything white flour, white cookies, white everything. Because this, to me, this is going to convert into refined carbohydrates into sugar, and it's going to absorb and overburden and harm the system. So to me, the culprit is sugar.
Now, what about
whatever converts into sugar very, very fast? So baking goods, our cakes, our cookies, our commercial breads, that is to me sugar.
What about, you mentioned honey earlier. What about a natural sweetener?
And what do you mean by natural sweetener?
Well, I would consider honey a natural sweetener.
No, honey, one has to be very, very careful with honey because 45% of honey is sugar. However, the proper honey, that's why I said, to me, honey has a few things. It has to be raw. It cannot be pasteurized because you're basically cooking the honey and you're converting it into sugar. And it has to be organic. Organic or wild, and you have to use honey very, very sparingly. And people, in my mind, people who have severe chronic diseases, they may stay away from honey completely because, again, it is sugar. Honey is a super medicinal, yummy, yummy delight, but one has to be very careful with honey.
What sweeteners do you use, or what sweeteners do you recommend that people use to substitute and get away from the the sugar cane?
I got it. I use 100% stevia.
Stevia? Okay.
Stevia or sweet plant, but I see, the thing is the designation, what I said, 100%. I know that I actually do not buy commercial stevias.
Oh, okay.
I don't buy my stevia at the grocery store because I do not know whether it is 100% stevia. It's not on the label. I buy mine from sources from a website that I trust, from the organic warehouse, or actually from health food stores, where I absolutely know that this is 100% stevia. Then there's another thing, it's called lohan fruit. I think it's a Chinese fruit, it's a lohan fruit. However, that is pretty pricey.
It's pretty pricey?
It's pretty pricey.
Now, I mean.
And then, so here's the deal. And let's say I'll give you a cheat. My cheat will be coconut sugar.
Coconut sugar, I've never heard of that.
Yeah, coconut sugar and I like it raw and I like it organic. Because coconut sugar it's a complex carbohydrate because it also contains minerals. And its sweetness point is lower than our common white sugar.
And that's something that you can get online. It's called
that's something that you can get at Costco.
Oh my word! And it's just called coconut sugar.
Coconut sugar, coconut sugar you can get at the local grocery store, Whole Foods, the good ones. I'm sure Americans, so Whole Foods, Sprouts, Trader Joe's, my favorites.
Now, does it taste like coconut? Because some people love the taste of coconut.
It has a coconut flavor. It's delicious.
Yeah, I love coconut, but I have a lot of friends of mine, including my wife, that they just can't stand the taste of coconut. But I mean, I think it's great. But so I'll have to look into that.
What are you holding in your hand?
Oh, that's a bad thing.
See? Okay, there you go.
Yes, my listeners don't know that. Well, yeah, I think they do, but yes, I am weaning myself off of those things. They're terrible.
And see, and that's what I teach. I teach overall health. And basically, you need to be committed to you. And to be committed to you, we have to make some choices.
Yeah.
And it pays off.
It pays off. It's a little hard in the beginning.
Yeah.
But
it pays off. It pays off because when you feel good, you have energy good, and you feel good, you're happy. Your energy is good. It's a completely different ball game.
Yes, me included in that. Everyone could use a little happy. Things are
absolutely, and we need happy. We can't even fake happy because it's like we just need to put that message into ourselves. Cells, they say it's like a computer. You put that message. And you keep putting that message, keep putting that message, keep putting that message. That one day is like, I got the message, I'm happy. I got the message.
That makes good sense to me.
And also listen to the body, because see, when you mentioned it, when you eat that Thanksgiving dinner and stuff, and then 20 minutes later, you are so unhappy, you're so sick. Tummy feels horrible. So listen to you. It's like you cannot deny yourself Thanksgiving dinner, but you don't have to indulge. And you can adjust. There's something, there are little modifications.
Yeah. I think at least here in America, we tend to be, gluttons with a lot of things. We overdo a lot of stuff. And I know that's something that we all need to be more aware of, and more conscious in our choices. I've made a lot of changes in my life and made a lot of bad choices. The good choices that I've made, I've reaped the rewards.
Absolutely. And I'm not teaching, drop everything cold turkey and stuff. But let's start looking and make small changes, a step at a time. Every day, go for a walk, 10 minutes walk every day. 10 minutes is better than no minutes. It's a start. 15 minutes is better than 10 minutes. Start looking at your hydration. Start drinking clean water. Start drinking purified water. And start eating a little better, one step at a time. Look at your food and think, this is on my plate. This is a great cookie. But maybe today, let me just refrain from this. We'll see how I do. And then your body is smiling and saying, thank you. Thank you for not eating that. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you because everything is intertwined. Because your gut is connected to your immune system. And your immune system is connected to your brain. And everything is connected to adrenals and the liver and stuff. So we're not just, lumped up organs. We are one ecosystem. And that ecosystem has to be in balance and has to stay happy and healthy.
Yeah, we are designed to be in balance, and so many of us, including myself, we make the choices that throw that off, and we can get thrown off in so many different areas, and then we find ourselves in a bad situation, one way or the other. And I know that health is so it's at the top of the list right now of a lot of people, with everything that's going on, in the world.
Absolutely. This is the time. This is the time to wake up. This is the time to wake up and start making healthy choices about our bodies being reinforced and enforced and becoming castles of health. It's my choice to make my body as a fortress of health. make choices of with whom I live my life, how I live my life, the choices of happiness, and then the choices of my body in terms of how do I feed my body? What do I put? How do I treat my body? Do I exercise? You know?
Hmm. Can you still see me? I changed positions, so.
I absolutely can see you perfect.
Okay. Outside was nicer.
No kidding.
And so we're going to take a short break. We're coming up on that halfway point. So let's take a short break, and we'll give our sponsors, a minute or so, and we'll get that out of the way, and then we'll be back with part two. So just hang there with me, and we'll be right back, folks, with part two. We are talking with Dr. Sveta Silverman from Canada, and we are talking about your health, your healthy cells, and your healthy lifestyle and good eating habits. So, and we'll get into more details in part two. So we'll be right back.
I want to welcome our latest sponsor to the Man at 50 podcast. The company's name is Pure Green, and they are one of the fastest growing juice and smoothie bar franchises in the U.S. They are taking on health straight on with some fantastic, healthy, delicious products. So I would encourage you to check them out at puregreen.com. That's puregreen.com. And I am very happy to be associated with the Pure Green family, and very happy that they are a sponsor of the show. Have you heard about Anchor? It's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. First of all, it's free. They have great creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, and it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many, many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you'll need to make a podcast in one place. Check them out and download the free Anchor app, or go to anchor.fm to get started. That's anchor.fm to get started.
We left and went into a sponsor break, and now we are back for part two with Dr. Sveta Silverman. And she is just, she is a dump truck full of information, so much information in regards to health. And right before we went into break, I brought up COVID. And I know that, in Canada as well, I know that is in the forefront of everyone's mind.
Everywhere. I think it's in the forefront of the whole world's mind.
Exactly. And could you share your professional opinion or input towards COVID? You know, what do you think it is? Is it something that we can battle and fight off on our own, or do you think the only way to take care of it is through medications and or a vaccine? What's your opinion?
Okay, so here's the deal, Brad. I ain't going to go political, and I am not going to touch the notion of vaccination, because I am a cell doctor, and I think that COVID is my way of education. And COVID to me is my wake up, and everybody else's wake up call. Because am I afraid of COVID? No. There are certain things that indeed some people are very vulnerable to COVID, especially older people, especially overweight people, especially people with different comorbidities, like different chronic diseases. But for me and for the average people, to me, COVID is an absolute wake-up call. It's like, Sveta, wake up, smell the roses. What do you do to make you the healthiest, the happiest you can be? How do I make my immune system and my cells the strongest they have ever been? This is my COVID message. This is my message to me, and basically that's what I teach. What do I do? Okay, fine. I need social distancing? Sure. I love washing my hands. And I have no problem with washing hands because I love washing hands. It's my massage. I love massaging my hands. I love clean hands. Fine, this is done. Now, let's get into the cells. Why? I said overweight, so I need to take care of that aspect. Why are we overweight? Same thing, because we overeat. And because we overeat the wrong stuff. So what do I do? So same thing, I start looking into my food choices. Oh, I eat too much sugar. Oh, I eat too much of the processed food. Oh, I just eat too much. Oh, have I exercised? No. Have I been outside? Was I breathing? No. That's then. Then I start thinking of my cells. What do I do? How do I enforce my cells? I live in Canada. I don't get enough vitamin D. I simply don't. That's not enough sun. So I'm going to start thinking, how can I reinforce my cells? What can I do? What kind of vitamins I need in my cells? How can I boost my immune system? What can I do? And I'm a huge proponent of microgut or probiotic health, microgut or gut health. So, and that is what and then I think, okay, what about love? What about love? So what do? I actually, during COVID, I pray a whole lot more. I meditate a whole lot more. I study a whole lot more. I take my chances to stay home and read more and educate more and watch less TV. So I invest through the COVID, I invest more into myself because self-care is not selfish. It's a self-necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Self-learning. Self-care, absolutely. And that's what it is. And I think this is our message. We need to wake up and we need to stop being a herd. We need to start being strong individuals that take charge. I am responsible for my well-being. I take charge of it.
Yes.
And it's very simple. The solutions are very, very simple.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm a big supporter of individual responsibility, and not pointing fingers or putting the blame anywhere else but myself.
Absolutely, exactly. I'm not going to blame. I'm not going to point fingers because my main thing is, if I'm happy and I do self-love, then I can love and spread that love and kindness on others and help others. And that's what I think the pandemic teaches us.
Mm-hmm. How many, well, let me see. How many people do you think, I know to take those actions and to begin to self-love and to take care of ourselves mentally, spiritually, physically, that kind of ties into the mental health aspect.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah. And I still have several bad habits. You've seen one of them, but and I know that I'm 100% responsible for those bad habits and how they affect my body and my mind to a certain degree. So, do you think that you have to approach it from a physical, spiritual, and mental standpoint?
Absolutely.
Right. And that's now you said you said that you promote or you're an advocate for like meditation and yoga. Is that what you said?
Absolutely. You know, my day started today at 6 a.m. yoga practice. Do you think I want to be up at 5 a.m.? No.
No.
No. But guess what? You know, that 6 a.m. gave me that oxygen, that prana, that gave me that breath of life. And then after an hour of yoga, basically from 7 a.m., I actually have the full day for me, as opposed to per se sleeping in. So it's like I accomplish more.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like that just starts me on the right things. Then, and it will be so much, it's like, you know, for me, I'm learning to meditate more. This is my challenge. Again, as you said, the mental aspect, that I'm learning that prayer of positivity. The more positive, the more manifesting positivity, the more connection. But the thing is, then we need to feed the brain. Here comes the food again. You need to feed the brain, but not only you need to feed, where does the food per se to the brain comes? Surprisingly enough, a lot of food for the brain comes from the gut. Because our microgut, our probiotics are feeding our brain.
I've heard so much about probiotics, but I mean, I honestly don't understand them, and I don't know what they are. Other than, I mean, I've seen them on the shelf, and it's one of those things where I've heard about it, but it's like, do I need to take that?
Yeah, we have to do the separate podcast entirely dedicated to probiotics and the gut health and microgut health, because now there are books and, you know, so many papers that our microgut is our second brain.
Really?
Absolutely. Because there's such a connection between bottom and the top.
Oh, is that what they mean by go with your gut?
Absolutely, go with your gut. I mean, again, it's a separate discussion. It's a microgut and the vagus nerve and the solar plexus. There's so many things. So many things.
But they are connected.
So intertwined. It's so intertwined.
Okay. Yeah, that could definitely be a whole nother episode. Okay, well we'll move on from that. You know, from the probiotics. But you believe that people should be taking probiotics. It should be part of their.
You know, yeah, I believe that people should be eating probiotics, and when they need, take probiotics. And then there is a food that feeds probiotics, which is called prebiotics. So it's so combined. Yeah, we need to eat probiotics. Absolutely. We need to feed our gut and microgut. And by and large, we're deficient even with the food. So we need to take probiotics. And then we need to feed it because we eat. But those guys who live together with us, you know, we're surrounded by bugs. And they live with us. They make us happy and healthy. But we need to feed them right. Sugar is not their food.
What is it? What is their food?
Fruits and vegetables.
Fruits and vegetables. Good health.
You know that the best friend of the probiotic, guess what? Onions. Onions stink away.
What about garlic?
Absolutely. Amen.
Okay.
Garlic
Onions
and apples and celery and you name it. Just eat your fruits and vegetables.
Make sure they're organic and you know what's in them.
Well, that's true. Well, of course, you know, per se, theoretically, people say I can't afford organic.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell them, don't afford organic. Buy what you can afford, not organic. Wash it, peel it, rinse it. Wash it, peel it, rinse it. If you buy frozen fruits and vegetables, For some reason, frozen minimizes the amount of pesticides and herbicides, bad stuff in them. What you can afford organic, please do that. And grow your own. Grow your own friend farmers. You know, friend your neighbors. They give away a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
I don't have excuses when people say, I can't afford organic. You don't have to afford organic. If you can't afford it, don't afford it. But there's no excuses for not eating fruits and vegetables. You just need to wash it, to rinse it, and if you need to peel it.
Yeah, because there's so many things that they're putting in our foods now that
Absolutely,
are
absolutely, absolutely. Of course, it's better. It's better. And again, per se, I honestly don't care much for the label, certified organic. I care for where it's coming from. So I know where I buy my fruits and veggies. I know my producers. I know my providers. I know my farmers. I know what they do and how they grow. You know, I'm with them for years, for decades, so I trust these people.
Now we're in the show notes. We are going, excuse me, in the show notes, we're going to be putting links where my listeners can get a hold of you and reach out and connect with you. And you do have a website, so we'll be sending them, to your website as well. Do you have like a resources page or a section on your website where they can get information or places where they can
you
go?
bet.
Okay.
Yeah. There is a section, contact me.
Okay, great. Okay.
Absolutely. There is a section, contact me. Also, if the listeners go to my YouTube channel, Sveta Silverman, and they subscribe, they can also reach out to me, contacting me.
Okay, and then now your YouTube channel, which will have the link in the show notes. We're going to have all your links in the show notes.
Terrific.
Because I want people to be able to, tap into all of your knowledge and all of your content, because it's great stuff, and to absorb all of it in one episode or one podcast.
That's exactly, it's overwhelming. And my YouTube channel has a lot of discussions and talks about it. I also have an interesting Facebook group, and listeners can join me. I will allow them because it's sort of a buying bite, and it is called Hugs with Sveta. I am a hugger.
Oh,
and
so social distancing must be hard for you.
Very, very hard. I am a hugger. My mom used to give the best hugs ever, like ever. So I am a hugger, but my Facebook page is called Hugs with Sveta because H is a happiness, U is unlimited, G is gratitude, hugs, and S is success.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and then also through that Facebook, you can always contact me as well. Just join me on that Hugs with Sveta Facebook page. Same thing, it's all about health. It's all about health. It's all about, I post resources, I post articles, I post quotes, I post affirmations, I post happiness.
Okay, that's terrific. The YouTube channel, do you do like any teaching on the YouTube channel?
Absolutely, I do. You bet.
Okay. So that's the self-learning, and that's the continual learning and feeding your mind. They can get it sounds like they can get a lot of that in terms of health there at the YouTube.
And what I post on my YouTubes, I also interview people who inspire me and people who teach me health. So there are actually interviews with one of the best probiotic specialists, on the field. There are teachers of cellular health. There are inspiration, like just lately I interviewed an Olympic champion, Jamie Saleh, on her mind. So to me, everything is very inspirational.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think I've already subscribed to YouTube. I'm not sure. I'll have to check, but because I know that you told me about it, and I think I went there and already subscribed to it. So I can't wait to check that out. I love self-learning, and it seems like when I started my journey a year ago, and I wrote my book, I had very little self-learning in my life up to that point. And in the last year, I have consumed more information, understanding, knowledge, and concepts. It's unlimited, but the amount that I've taken in a year is just like can be overwhelming sometimes because
It is.
I feel like I'm playing catch up.
Absolutely, and it's never enough. See, my mantra is the more I learn, the less I know.
Yeah, because it just keeps coming.
And the more I learn, the more I'm confused. So I need more. I need more and more and more.
Well, I think they say whoever they are, they say if you stop learning, if you're not learning, you're dying. That you're just that you have to be feeding your mind, and you have to be learning, and an active mind is the best mind in the world to have. It's active, and it's ever changing. So
you bet.
I think that is.
And we're creating. There is a new term which is called neuroplasticity. We are actually active mind. We are building new connections in our brain.
And making our brains stronger.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I mean, they're already powerful because I don't remember the statistic, but I think we only use 14% of our brains or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a small portion.
Correct.
And so we have a lot of room to grow when it comes to that.
You bet. You got it.
I think you and I also share, and we're down to about the last 10 minutes, so we're kind of work our way here to the final part. But I think you and I share a similar path or mission, because you said that your mother and her passing away kind of put you in a different perspective or a different direction in your life.
Absolutely. It absolutely ignited me. She's my guardian angel, and she's my light. She's my light on that mission. Am I on a mission? 100%. If I change one life, I can die happy. If I change millions of lives, I can die very, very happy. And I'm not ready yet because I'm on the way of changing. I am changing lives. Not enough. Not enough. I need those millions.
Yes, me too. I can understand that. My father was an intricate part in me making my changes. It's ironic because the words and the actions that he spoke and that he did to me in my life kept me in a very codependent place for 50 years. And what he said and what he did crushed me and buried me for such a long time. And then it went full circle when he passed on. It showed me how sad and scared and fearful he was. And it showed me that he never gained any self-awareness, self-love. He didn't do a lot of self-learning. And the things that I saw him not have when he passed on is what I decided that I was going to absolutely have in my life. And I wanted to have the things he didn't. And so in kind of a strange way, in the end, he really gave me a gift. He gave me a gift of understanding, and he showed me a way not to do it, if that makes sense. And I want to go out happy, and I want to leave an impact on others, a positive impact.
You bet. The legacy. That's what we're leaving.
Yeah, and
It's
see,
not
I
about
never
money,
thought I
it's
would
about
do that.
legacy.
Right, and he felt when he was leaving and when he was passing away, he felt like he was leaving nothing behind other than guilt and sorrow and pain. And I took that as a lesson and I learned from it. And I've made a commitment to myself that I'm not going to repeat that. That I don't have to go out the way he went out. I can go out happier and healthier, and I can leave something behind for others. And I think when it all comes down to it, one of the most exciting parts of living for me today is reaching out and giving to other people.
Amen. Absolutely.
The,
Same here.
there's
Same here.
nothing like it.
Giving it back. Giving
Hmm.
it back.
Because I think, I mean, for me, I spent so many years looking for people that were givers, and I ran into and experienced a lot of takers in my life because I was very uh, vulnerable and I wouldn't stand up for myself, and so I attracted takers, you know. And now I'm attracting into my life more givers, and
Givers.
I'm
You got it.
yeah, more and more people. I meet at least 5 a day, you know, sometimes more, where I look at them and go, I can't believe this person or that person is willing to give so much of themselves to other human beings. And it's
You're
one after another.
manifesting. Yeah, you're manifesting and you're attracting what you want. That's a thing. That's what we're doing. That's where our mind comes. The manifestation, the positivity.
Hmm. Well, in my darker days, I probably would have never ran across you,
Correct.
you or Poirier, you know, and Elise Rothman, and so many people that are in the Blue Talks community, and just throughout the industry. I ran across so many people that it was like a second life. It was like, where were all these people when I needed them? When I really needed them to be in my life? And the light bulb for me went off, and I realized I wasn't attracting them. I wasn't looking for those type of forgivers. You know, I was drawn to takers and you know, people that just wanted to take and they had no interest in giving to other people. And so, yeah, that's a quantum shift. And once once we and my listeners, once they get to that place where they start bringing in people into their lives that willingly will help them, will give to them, and will cheer them on, you know, and what they are doing and what they're giving to the world, um, it's an exponential curve of success and happiness.
Yes,
And so
amen.
it, I mean, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Brad, it was a delight, and hopefully, we need to schedule another one on probiotics, mind you.
Yes, we'll we will do that. We'll try to squeeze it in before the end of the year, but that would be yeah, I would like to go in depth a little more in the probiotics. I think they're very important, and I've heard the term gut health. You know, I don't know if that's a buzzword now, but it's like popping up everywhere. It's like see commercials and for it, and I'm like, what are they talking about? And it seems to be everywhere. So it's a trend, but more and more people are asking about it and they want to know about it. And I think it's really an important thing to cover. So
Awesome.
we will definitely do that. Definitely do that. I want to let the listeners know we are fixing to wrap up, but folks, we have been talking with Dr. Sveta Silverman on health and a healthy mind and healthy cells and loving yourself, taking care of yourself, and just taking care of our temples, our great bodies that we have, and what we can do with them. So it's been a pleasure to have you on the show. I
Brad,
know the
thank you so much.
listeners you're very welcome. I know the listeners are going to have tons of questions.
Absolutely.
And so,
I'm here to help answer, and thank you. You just said it. We are in charge of our temples. We are the temple.
absolutely. And nobody else will clean and take care of a temple better than the owner. it's kind of like renters. Renters don't take care of their rental properties, but owners take care of their homes they own. And we have to do that with our bodies and our minds.
Amen.
It was a pleasure to meet you and to talk with you. You provided great value, and I know the listeners will enjoy the content. I want to encourage everyone to read the show notes, check out the links, and connect with Sveta on Facebook and YouTube and her website, because she has so much knowledge. And if you're ready to make those choices about your health, your body, your weight, your mind, what a great place to start would be this lady right here. So definitely check out. And any last words that you have? And then
words of gratitude. Thank you very much. So looking forward to the feedback. So looking forward to connecting with so many people. And guys, to health, to love, to life. Thank you, Brad. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Thank you. You're very welcome. And we'll do it again. Hopefully we'll try to get you back on the podcast before the end of the year. Just thanks so much. Folks, we're
fantastic.
Great. I really enjoyed it. And my mind is just spinning because there's so much great information. So thanks again. Folks, I want to go ahead and wrap it up. This has been the Man at 50 podcast. I'm your host, Brad Richard. Until our next episode, please remember, I end the episode the same way. Love your little me, and remember, they are always with you, side by side. Love y'all. Take care until next time. Bye for now.
This has been the Man at 50 podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. Join us next week for our next episode and our next guest on the show. Visit us on the web at www.bradrichard.net. That's www.bradrichard.net. Until next time, take care.